Hey YouTube, what's up? So I've looked into Bitcoin over the years, and every time I look into it, I find myself having the same reaction. One that is like, hey, I don't think this is for me at all. And I mean, really, I don't see it being really that useful for most people, especially into preparedness. There's a lot of reasons for this, but it's only been around for like 10 years. And it's already been through its first bubble, and we're down around $4,700 US for a Bitcoin. It was as high as almost 20,000 at the end of December 2017. And so it's a bit volatile for sure. And on top of that, it's a digital cryptocurrency. It's not backed by a government. It has nothing backing it at all. In fact, it's a fiat digital cryptocurrency. And so that's a problem. I mean, it's just a made up currency backed by nothing. And so it's a real gamble. I mean, if you're talking about playing the lottery, I mean, it's a gamble when you put money into Bitcoin or any kind of cryptocurrency that's backed by nothing. And you also have the downside that, besides it being so volatile, is that to access it, you have to have internet. You have to have a means to connect to the internet to move your money around. So what happens if you don't have internet? Well, you don't have access to your currency. And then another downside is that a lot of places don't accept that particular currency because it still is relatively new. And because it fluctuates so much, a lot of companies don't want to keep up with it. And they're like, hey, we don't want to have nothing to do with it. So there's just a lot of downside. And I think for a lot of people that have limited resources in particular, there's a lot better use of your money. And so first, I would recommend to buy more food. The price of food continues to go up year after year. Sometimes the food inflation is faster and higher than the currency inflation. So sometimes food will go up faster than the inflation index of the dollar. Also, you have education. Education continues to get more and more expensive. I think the best thing you can do now is to find some good, respectable resources off the web and to get you some good books and to try to teach yourself what you can, especially if you can't afford to go to a formal school or go into a classroom environment. So that isn't free, so you're going to need resources there. But to me, it's a lot better use of money than to put it into Bitcoin. And lastly, I would rather have precious metals, something that's real and tangible and that's actually rare, a rare commodity, silver, gold, platinum, over a Bitcoin. And you may say, well, you don't have the upside potential though. Well, you do have some upside potential, but at least it's a real thing, and the value of precious metals will never go to zero. And on top of that, it typically keeps up with the inflation rate with the currency. So to me, even though it doesn't really grow in the sense of thinking of like an investment grows, there's not like what you would consider a lot of capital gains involved with most precious metals over time. It's a safeguard. It's like money in a savings account. You're never going to probably get rich off of those dollars in the savings account. It doesn't grow fast enough, but it's going to be there when you need it. So that and many more examples are out there. So be aware of the Bitcoin and be careful with it. And if you just have a few $100 burning a hole in your pocket and you just have to do something with it, you may want to consider one of those three things. And if you just decide to do Bitcoin and just to buy a little bit and then just kind of forget about it, and if it just happens to get to a crazy number and you can sell it, then go for it. But I'm just here to tell you, though, that a lot of people that have limited resources really should not be gambling with their money. For all we know, Bitcoin could disappear in a few years. It could just be a fad. You never know what they say about the origins of Bitcoin. They keep on saying that it wasn't backed by a government or wasn't created by a government, but it could come out in the next few years that it was. It was something that was done in the shadows of China or Japan. You just don't know. Governments sometimes aren't very trustworthy, and they do things to manipulate other markets. So I'm just saying, when you have, in particular, Bitcoin, and we're not really totally sure of where it even came from, I think that's a big red flag for a lot of us, especially when we know that there is nothing backing it. It's all fiat. It's all just made up. So why would you want to put yourself in a situation of putting resources in a volatile market, a currency that was just made up out of thin air? It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it makes sense to you. Doesn't make sense to me. Just wanted to share you these ideas. I was asked to do this video, and so hopefully that satisfied the question. Thanks for watching.